The gameplay in the background is important to me because it reminded me why I like Call of Duty. I occasionally get asked, why do you still play Call of Duty? Or I'm just straight up told that Call of Duty's dead and it hasn't had a good game in 8 years. And when people think of Call of Duty, they conjure up images of 12-year-olds with fully automatic weapons running and gunning like stupid idiots screaming into their mics that they fucked your mother. And this is because, unfortunately, it's easier to create a caricature of a game you don't like than it is to explain the reasons you do like a game. I've said for a while now that Call of Duty has its purpose and its place as a really well-optimized console Twitch shooter. But this match playing in the background reminded me why I value Call of Duty. Its value to the gaming industry and its value to you is actually not really my concern. The reason this match was so much fun for me was that it was interesting. And this match reminded me that Call of Duty can be interesting. I choked some kills that a lot of you might not have choked, and I don't do as well as I possibly could. But in this match, I get shorted teammates. I lose a lot of gunfights. I get frustrated. But towards the middle of the match, I get a couple more teammates in, and the fun really started for me. I said on Twitter that I got a really good match of COD, or my favorite match of COD, I don't know what I said. I said something kind of grand along those lines, and I said I was going to make it into a video. And you guys might have thought that I got like 80 kills and 0 deaths or something. But nope, instead I had an uphill battle with weapons that I'm not incredibly confident with, and I just try to do my best. What feels so good about Call of Duty, at least to me, is that your own personal skill is so rewarded even in the team-based game modes. Oftentimes you'll feel like you're doing everything and you'll still lose, and that's an awful feeling to have. Going up against difficult opponents or, being outnumbered by your opponents, whatever it might be, feels so satisfying. Well, it feels more satisfying if you win, and I'm not saying it's not frustrating, and I'm not saying that Call of Duty doesn't make me rage, and a lot of times it does. But the thing that I like about it more so than Battlefield or Halo or Titanfall is that the maps are laid out in a way, the gunplay is balanced in a way, the customization was crafted in a way, so that one player, with the right setup, the right amount of skill, the right amount of map knowledge, could just about single-handedly smack an enemy team. What do you think drives people to play Call of Duty? The game lets you know from your first multiplayer match that you have the potential to 1v6 people if you're good enough. Are you good enough? No. Call of Duty is easy to pick up, hard to master. Getting 1 kill in Call of Duty is one of the easiest things anybody can do. Getting 12 kills without dying, now that's a bit of a challenge. Controlling the enemy spawns and objective modes to make sure they don't spawn behind your team, or if they do, you can deal with it, that's a challenge. Now of course it's an online game and it's flawed and there's some connection problems and all of that. I mean, I haven't played an online FPS game that doesn't have all of the problems that Call of Duty has, other than specific balancing issues title to title. What draws people back into Call of Duty day after day, what makes them grind Call of Duty, at least for me, is the sheer variety of experience you have. Because the game is played by such a wide range of players, you will run into very different enemies every single lobby. People that are annoyingly good with sniper rifles, people that are in Pro League and they do game battles, tryhard pub stompers that play solo, tryhard pub stompers that play in entire teams of tryhard pub stompers. People that are really scared of dying and sit in corners with mines surrounding them. People that don't fear death and constantly run into your face with a knife or shotgun. This is honestly one of the reasons I think Call of Duty needs interesting maps like it had in Black Ops 1 and like it had in Modern Warfare 2. Because Call of Duty is a very simple, intuitive, straightforward shooter with a lot of small things that add to its overall depth. So like if you're Black Ops 3 and all of your maps funnel people into the same engagement ranges and you don't have a lot of variety in your layouts, then it gets really repetitive. But what's really fun to me is that Call of Duty is great for a couple of matches and then logging off, grinding for a long time trying to unlock certain camos and weapons, perks, and equipment, trying to race your friends to master prestige, or doing competitive teamwork-oriented 4v4 matches, which is what I used to do all the time in Call of Duty Ghosts. The smooth, intuitive nature of Call of Duty, the uphill struggles, the variety of people you go up against, the ability to grind or pop on and off at will, and the fact that the game tells you, again, I'm gonna reiterate this, from your first multiplayer match that you have the potential to really do some damage. How do you live up to it? You learn the game in and out, you learn the maps, you learn your angles of exposure, you learn how each weapon works and doesn't work, you learn what perks to use with what weapons and for what playstyles. You find out how fast you can throw a concussion grenade, you learn how far you can throw a frag grenade. And once you do that, plus some other things that I'm not going to mention because this video can't be 30 minutes long, once you do that and you master it, it's really hard to land yourself at the bottom of the scoreboard. And that's pretty cool. And then every year, you have to refresh your knowledge. That's my biggest gripe with Call of Duty, actually. I kind of wish we had 2-year life cycles for each COD game. That would make wanting to learn it and master it and get better at it way more appealing, because I won't have to refresh all my knowledge in 12 months. I've met a lot of people through Call of Duty, and I've played with a lot of people on Call of Duty, and I've learned a lot about people and how they play Call of Duty. I mean, I've seen players that are really good at aiming and shooting, and they can get kills that way. But when it comes to any sort of curveball, a camping enemy, somebody using a riot shield with a teammate behind them, or if the enemy team starts using a lot of different traps and equipment like mines, shock charges, concussion grenades, and they start really, going heavy with that, I don't know, I've seen these kind of Rudy Tooty Pointy Shooty types just quit playing. I've seen them rage quit a lot because they can't deal with actual situations. They're just good at Call of Duty's gunplay on a base level. I had a friend that was really good at Black Ops 2's gunplay. He was incredible. He would just not miss shots with his AN-94 or his Scar H. He was absolutely deadly. And all of that said, he could not deal with conservative players. If a person was hanging out on one end of the map with a sniper or an LMG, using cover with maybe a trip mine, or I guess it'd be a bouncing Betty or a shock charge, nope, he couldn't deal with that. He would get really mad if the enemy team decided to use black hats, like pretty much no one does, but use black hats and actually hack his UAVs, and he would get incredibly pissed off about it. I've also known people in Call of Duty Ghosts that were really good at playing the objective but couldn't win a gunfight for their lives. They'd be on every flag, they'd be on every hard point, they'd be running the flag and capture the flag, they could do all of that and more. They'd be collecting tags and kill confirmed. They were good at everything except shooting somebody. There is a lot of variety in Call of Duty that goes past weapons, maps, game modes. In my opinion, it's about the players. It's about the scenarios you can't predict as a developer, and that's what makes Call of Duty fun. And that's what makes a lot of shooters fun. But Call of Duty definitely never gets that credit. It never gets the credit for being a game where the players come in and they make their own fun and it creates interesting scenarios. It's a competitive online FPS game, and there's a reason I'm an enthusiast of competitive online FPS games. Is that after you get past the map design and the balance and the gunplay and the servers and how good is the connection, and you get in and you get past all of that, you have players. And players create matches like this. And Call of Duty really values the potential of an individual player. And that's why I like Call of Duty. If this seemed like pretentious nonsense, it's because it's not your opinion, it's my own. The reasons I like Call of Duty go beyond this video as well. I could list a lot of things I like about it, but that would just be a very messy video. And even if I made a 30-minute video, I don't think I could explain to you why I love the match that I played. So much so that I'm making this mushy Call of Duty fanboy video. The one thing I've really learned from trying to make this video today, because it's taken me a couple hours, is I do realize when people say, I don't know, I just do, when it comes to their opinions on things. It's much easier to say than everything I'm trying to get out here. But hopefully you understand, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye. Yeah, you had us outmatched, but you still lost. It's unfortunate.
Well, at least I killed you.
You did. You did a couple good times. That is probably one of my favorite Call of Duty matches I've played in a long fucking.